Yes,
when
sir.
the president of the UFC, Dana White, says that was the best card I've ever seen, you know something special happened last Saturday night.
You know something special happened last Saturday night.
Right.
I put on my Facebook page, great fight last night, because I was just thinking about the last fight. How about all my fans jumped on my back? I was like, well, how about great fights? How about great fights?
Yeah,
How about great
top
fights?
to bottom. Like I watch everything. I watch from the Facebook fights all the way to the main event. And from top to bottom, every fight delivered.
Entertaining.
Right.
Every single one. I don't know how they handed out bonuses that night or what Dana said or what Joe and them said. It was crazy, man.
People were like, oh, the only fight that wasn't good was the Roy Nelson one. And I'm like, that's saying something, because even the Roy Nelson one was a really good fight.
It depends how you watch fights, you know?
That was an amazing fight.
Card, people wouldn't even complain about that fight.
Exactly.
It was a great fight.
Right. Exactly. Because, I mean, Big Roy, he did his thing again, you know, trying to go for the knockout, always trying to finish the fight. Right. And Mr. Cormier, he executed the most perfect game plan that he could against Roy Nelson. He did exactly what you're supposed to do.
First of all, you can't knock out Roy Nelson. The guy has granite for chin.
First of all.
So, what do you do if you know you can't knock a guy out, you know?
And he tried. He hit him like 3 or 4 times where sweat and spit flew.
Yes. They show the slow-mo replay, and you see spit, and he's got like a mullet,
braided,
and it's braided, and so you see the sweat fly out. I mean, the HD is great for the fights, for stuff like that.
So what do? Back to the game plan. Back to the game plan.
So I had no problem.
And
with that
fight. Was the most boring fight. Come on, are you kidding me?
All people can say. That shows you.
Let's talk first about the main event, because it was a very interesting fight between Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos. This is the third time they fought.
End of the trilogy.
Can you imagine Brandon fighting somebody 3 times?
I could. It would be fun, because you would be able to study that person inside and out.
Do you think that the mentality changes or the game plan changes when you fight somebody 3 times?
I think when you fight somebody 3 times, it becomes more personal than because
you
fought
felt
them
that.
before.
You kind of felt that between these 2 guys.
You saw when Junior came out to do his thing, when they called his name, Cain ran right out there and met him in the middle of the octagon, right in the center. So I think it's more personal when you get to fight somebody 3 times, because especially if it's 1-1. I beat you once, you beat me once. No, this one I think is more personal.
This proves who's the best.
It almost becomes a woman fight.
Oh.
Because we had this conversation during the seminar last week, like how women fight compared to how men fight.
Right. Yeah.
And women fight like they're fighting.
It's like they're protecting their family.
Something happened between these 2 that they have never met before.
Like, you took my man. You took my man.
That's how they fight. So that's kind of how it felt when they fought, man. Like, it was personal, way personal.
I agree with you. I mean, it was something going on where you could feel that personal something up, like I'm not losing to you, no, I'm not losing to you type of thing. Now, the tough part about it is that Junior Dos Santos is probably the 2nd best heavyweight on the planet.
On the planet.
I mean, he's that good.
Yes.
But Cain Velasquez is that much better.
Which is crazy.
Cain Velasquez is that much better.
Yeah.
Is that much better.
Yeah.
The only person that would give Cain a hard run for the money is somebody who can either A, stop the takedown, or 2, keep getting up Chuck Liddell style.
Right.
Like, if you can get up on Cain,
like kind of use your wrestling in reverse.
Use your wrestling and be able to get up in reverse, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But then again,
but he has that weird cardio,
that pace,
that tank. I mean, you wouldn't think a heavyweight. I mean, this guy
should be able to go like Dominic Cruz.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. That's what's so tricky about Cain is like he does not act like a heavyweight, but he
does not get tired.
He's an effing heavyweight.
He's a monster.
He goes 5 rounds like it's nothing. Like it's crazy.
Yes.
You've never trained with him, right?
I have trained with him.
You have trained with him.
Have you?
Is he the same training as he is in the fights?
Cain is the exact same.
Oh.
Wow.
Exact.
Is it exhausting?
Same. Yeah, it's you leave the gym wondering, what the hell was that?
Well, like, how does he? But honestly, how does he get his cardio up to to that standard?
He believes, he does sprints, and he goes. He just
goes hard.
He just goes. His coaches trained him. Everybody has trained him. He's been taught to just go until the other person falls apart. Ever since high school or college, that's what he's been doing throughout his whole career. Just going until the other person breaks.
Drops.
Yeah. The wheels fall off. The screws come off.
The first thing you said of how does he get his cardio is you said he believes.
Yes.
So is that in training? Is that like the number one thing? If you believe, that's going to get you there?
It's more than that. I guess that's more of a fighter type thing to say. For a layman, it would be hard to explain. But if you were to go into the gym and watch him train, it would be the same like watching Dominic Cruz train. And I don't know if that's because they're both champs or they both have that drive or that desire, but that look in their eye and their style of technique when they're training and that push is definitely present, and you can see it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, right?
Now, obviously, that's your division. You're a heavyweight.
That's my division.
Do you think to yourself when you're watching those fights, like, oh, man.
Got more to work on.
You
gotta do more. Gotta do more.
You want, I mean, obviously, you want to be that level. You want to be in that, championship fights.
Of course.
Do you believe that you could be in that championship
fight? I believe
fight?
I can get to that championship.
Because I really do believe it.
I believe.
I really do. Your last fight, I know I texted him after his last fight. I didn't hear back.
I love the text. No, but I do love the text.
My brain is probably busy.
I'm pretty sure a couple of people probably busy.
But I literally wrote, I believe in you, because they were showing reel of your fights, and you have it in you where like you have that Cain Velasquez tendency where you're like, you don't know what to expect, you're crazy, and you've got the skill set. You've got the skill set to back it up.
Crazy, Brandon.
With the freaking kicks and stuff
Thank
that you drop.
Miss Ashley.
But yeah, I mean, I would love for you to like fight. Yeah, dude, and I really do believe you can. Like, I know
I'm starting to sweat over here. I want to go train now.
You're inspiring him. Well, when you watch a fight, like Gilbert Melendez and Diego Sanchez,
that was the biz.
Talk about like I'm sweating at home. I'm jumping up out of my couch, going like, dude, am I watching what I think I'm watching?
I'm getting tired.
Right?
I watched the whole fight on my feet.
Yes. Talk about it, Brandon. Talk about when two guys just say, you know what, screw it, I don't care, let's just throw.
That fight was so amazing.
Beautiful.
It was UFC entertainment at its finest.
Right.
Going for broke, going for the fight, going for the finish, going for the submission, going for the takedown, going for the back. Everything was gone for 100%. There was no, I'm going to try this and maybe go to this. No, everybody was like,
there was no fighting. Really hard. There was no fighting to not lose.
No.
There was none of that.
The whole fight. And the best part is honestly like seeing Gilbert Melendez is a beast. He's one of my favorite fighters anyways. When he fights, it's going to be a beautiful fight.
I love him.
Then you put him with Diego Sanchez. Yes. And everybody's like, it's kind of weird. Diego's been gone for 2 years. Let's see what's going on. That Diego Sanchez that showed up that evening, the dream was a machine.
He's a maniac.
That's the Sanchez we know and love. That's the Sanchez we wanted to see fight.
It was beautiful.
When they're like, the referees are all concerned with his scar tissue, and he's like slapping their hand, get me back in there,
Well, when your eyebrow is hanging off your face, and you go, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, Diego's like,
that's
good.
fighter spirit right there.
It is. But what Diego showed the whole world yesterday, everybody's like, oh, Diego, 2 years, ring rust. Oh, he's going to have problems.
He's not ranked in the top 10. He doesn't deserve to fight Gilbert Melendez.
I could see Diego, we could see, technically as fighters, we could see Diego's ring rust just because his timing was half a second off. Like, his combinations were beautiful, his attacks were awesome. He was just a little bit off. That's why he kept missing Gil. But that one time, he did connect in the third round.
Well, if you watch Diego Sanchez, you know that he gets stronger as the fight goes on.
It's like he's warming up.
So by the time the third round came around, you're like, whoa, what is happening right now?
Found his timing.
He might win this fight.
He hit Gilbert with a hard right hand. Gilbert was sleeping with his hands in the air. And then he hit the fence. And then I think he woke up.
Oh my God.
I was like, what? Yeah, everybody in the house was screaming.
I heard, Joe Rogan was saying it's the best fight he's ever seen. Which I say, for me, it was the most insane fight I've ever seen. It was maybe the most entertaining fight I've ever seen. I can't say it's the best fight I've ever seen.
Joe maybe said that because...
when you're in the moment, maybe?
Well, that, and not just that. Diego's been gone for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, the level of respect that he brought to himself into the sport... and for his style of fighting, even though he's been gone out of the octagon for 2 years, maybe for Joe Rogan that was a huge deal. Okay. That's a big deal. Yeah. So maybe I don't know. Yeah. And he might like one of those two guys. Might be one of his favorites.
I wasn't even the best fight I've seen in the past month because Alex and John Jones. That was to me a crazier fight. Yeah. I mean, that was a 5-round title fight where both guys. Every round went back and forth like that.
Every round.
But I'm not putting down the Melendez Diego fight, because that's in there. That's one of my top 10 fights I've ever seen.
I would say it was bloodier.
Oh, no doubt.
That's more entertaining. That's more entertaining.
It can be.
More bloody.
Yeah, it was an epic match.
It wasn't as technical, which Joe did say. Joe was like, that was entertaining.
It was a Rocky fight.
Technical, but
it was a Rocky fight, which is great.
Rocky fight.
Yeah.
Love it.
That was amazing.
It was a blast, man.
I loved it.
Man, who else fought on the card?
There's a ton. I mean, it was every fight, like I said.
The first 2 fights before were both not finishes, too, that were outstanding.
Yeah, every fight was good, man. It was really fun to watch.
Even the undercard was good. I remember Tim Boach's fight was pretty good. Tim Boach looked good. It was a wild fight.
That him and CB Dalloway.
He looked good, man. CB, come on, man. Why you keep poking him in the eye? Come on, Mr. Dalloway.
Yeah. So there are fights tomorrow, everybody. Maybe
tomorrow. Tomorrow there's fights.
There's fights every weekend. Let's be honest.
I love it.
Now, this is kind of interesting because it's over in London, and so you're going to get them live at like 12 our time.
It's
really bizarre. It's on Fox Sports 2 tomorrow if you get that channel. You got to check it out because very interesting main event. It's Lyoto Machida going down to 185 to fight Mark Munoz, a guy you're very familiar with.
Mr. Munoz.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've trained with Mark.
I train with Mark. I've gotten to train with Mr. Lyoto Machida too.
Nice.
A little bit.
Talk about an awkward. Both of those guys have awkward styles.
It's kind of the same fight when Mr. Machida fought Mr. Davis. Wrestling styles. Yeah. It's a wrestler versus a striker.
Yeah.
In its purest form, it's wrestler versus striker. But Mark has improved his stand-up, and Lyoto for sure has beautiful takedown defense. I think if Lyoto keeps it on the feet, he's going to give Mark a hard time. But then again, it's Mr. Munoz. Yeah. And if he takes anybody to the ground, you see what happens when you're on the ground with Mark. It's just, it's not a good day. You can't even defend from getting beat up on the ground.
Because that guy is another level of wrestler.
His wrestling control to ground and pound is probably the top in the game right now. Wow. There's nobody that has better ground and pound than Mark Munoz. Oof. And if anybody wants to argue about it, please point me in the direction. Point me in the direction. Who has it? I want to watch. Right? Yeah, I want to watch. But it's going to be an interesting matchup, man. Speed versus power. Raw power.
It's really a hard fight to predict.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, and I'm like, well, who do I think is going to win? I don't know.
I don't know who's going to win.
I mean, because Machida is such an awkward striker. He's really hard to hit, but he's also hard to take down, too. Like, you don't see a lot of guys take Lyoto Machida down.
I'm going to go Munoz on this one.
Yeah.
You think Munoz is going to take it? Well, it's going to be interesting also because Machida's cutting down to 185 for the first time.
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes.
There's always been a smaller 205,
right?
So I don't think it'll bother him.
He doesn't cut weight to get down to 205. He just walks around.
He walks around, yeah.
I love Machida. I just feel like he's sometimes hit or miss in fights. Like sometimes they're entertaining.
It's his style. Like
sometimes
it's weird.
They're a little slow for me.
He wants you to come to him, and when you don't engage
that's
him,
when he puts you to sleep.
Right.
Yeah. But if you don't engage him, he'll just circle.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
So there you go. Fights tomorrow. If you want to check him out, free.
Ross Pearson.
Your boy.
Yes.
Ross Pearson's fighting tomorrow on a beautiful card. He's fighting Melvin Gillard.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's good. Somebody's going to sleep that fight. I guarantee you nobody that's not going 3 rounds.
They're not going to the ground.
No.
They're not going to the ground.
They're not going to the ground. Somebody's going to go to sleep that fight for sure. And that's the co-main event right before the main.
And I heard, I don't know if this is true or not. This is a rumor. I heard winner of that fight might fight Diego.
That's what I heard.
See?
That would be a good fight too.
Where'd you hear that rumor? Twitter first? I always find out on Twitter first, man.
My sources, Brandon. Come on. You're not my only insight.
In my face.
Right? Awesome stuff, Brandon. As always, man. Appreciate you coming in. Very cool. All right, we'll take a quick time out. More of the show when we get back.